Again, my name is Bob Kay, and I have the pleasure of talking with Joe Diseffino today. Joe happens to be a good old buddy of mine, and we talked about spending nights in the barn till 3 o'clock. He was there a lot of times, you know. And if I didn't quite make it, he was still there, you know, using the tools and drinking the beer. But Joe has been around for quite some time, all kidding aside, and he is involved with the International Motorcycle Bike Builders Association. And Joe, you know, I'd like you to talk a little bit about what the IMBBA brings to the table in terms of the future growth of bike builders and the bike building industry.
Sure. Well, it's IMBBA, that's International Master Bike Builders Association. It was founded a little over 5 years ago by Jeff Starkey, who's out here in the audience. And the whole idea behind it is to educate, certify, qualify builders, judges, and essentially bring credibility to the custom bike building aspect of the motorcycle industry. In other words, if you go to a bike shop and it's a certified IMBBA shop, you can rest assured that they've had to prove to the IMBBA that they're actually qualified to take you $50,000 and build your bike. And they're good businessmen. They'll be there next week to service that bike afterwards as well. So it's not just a matter of building the bike, it's the whole package. It's the type of person, it's their qualifications, their ability, and their ability to conduct business in a proper and fair manner. So it's a lot more than simply bike building. It's a whole package, and the other aspect of it, and where it really began and where it starts from, is training judges to properly judge motorcycle shows like you have here, and have a level playing field, consistency, and that only comes through training and actually creating a process to train and to educate these builders to become professional judges, so that there is consistency, and one judge that's trained should come up with pretty close to the same score as the next judge. And there is a process. It's not by chance. I mean, there's certain positions that they have to walk around the bike and everything. It's a very long story, but long story short, IMBBA is all about education, certification, and bringing credibility and really educating for the next generation of custom bike builders in the industry.
Well, you know, Joe brought up a really good point about, you know, people wanting to have a bike built and being able to go to a certified shop. You know, we talked about, I started doing this in the late 60s, early 70s, and as the industry got real popular, as we moved into the 90s and the economy got very robust and Harley couldn't produce enough motorcycles out there, there was builders coming out of the woodwork, whether they were doing production work or individual builders, and they didn't always have the same certification and process. And everybody probably has their own personal stories of bikes that didn't quite get built the right way, or at least some of the components that didn't function the way they should. Well, the IMBBA also helps the shops to understand this. They're working with different manufacturers, so we're all going through the right process, having the right terminology, and it's just a total world of difference. And you know, in this industry, the motorcycle industry is still a very young industry. Basically started about in the mid-60s, the aftermarket. So when you look at how cars and some general industries, how long they've been around, we're a very, very young industry. And this is part of our maturing process. Now you can go to some place and get a consistent motorcycle built from guys like Jeff that have done their work and studied, and other guys that have worked through this process and understand the value of certification. So, you know, Joe, I think you also do some work with the Sturgis Museum. So tell us a little bit about the museum, then we can talk about what you got going on there.
Well, the Sturgis Motorcycle Museum and Hall of Fame, this is actually, June 1st will be the 10th anniversary of the museum. It started June 1st, 2001. It moved to the current location at 999 Main Street in Sturgis, South Dakota in 2003. And it's got a Hall of Fame, and it's really a lot of dignitaries in there. If you go on the website, that's SturgisMuseum.com, you'll see a lot of familiar names, but you'll also see a lot of names that are maybe not quite as familiar. I mean, the Hall of Fame really, and the whole museum in general, commemorates and is trying to preserve the people, the machines, the companies that make the industry so great. But not just that, it's also a focus on the Sturgis Rally itself, which this year will be the 71st year. We do a lot of charity work. We've got a couple of rides that we're directly involved in. The Legends Ride, the Kids in Chrome Ride. There's an event going on at the Buffalo Chip this year. I'm not at liberty to discuss right now, but it'll be pretty cool, and it'll be the Friday before Bike Week launches. IMBBA sponsors the Sturgis Motorcycle Museum. Sturgis Motorcycle Museum supports IMBBA. I mean, it's one big happy family. Everybody that I work with, we all help each other out, and you know, the bottom line is, IMBBA, eventually, people at that level, at that quality, are future Hall of Famers. You know, you talked about the economy creating all this various builders. Let's be frank, it was a breeding ground for a lot of hacks out there. Well, now it's you know, simmering down, and people are understanding the value of the quality and not necessarily the quantity. And getting back to the museum, it's a small place, but it's high quality. There's some cool bikes in there, nice people. We have a lot of fun, and you know, we're always glad to see new members, sponsors coming in, and we can help you push your business, and we've got a lot of experience.
Well, you know, Joe, it's a pretty interesting group you have together. You know, you have the Sturgis Museum kind of talking about the preservation of the motorcycles and a lot of our history and where we grew up and came from, like you said, and there's a lot of famous Hall of Famers in there right now that we know, and then you're tied in with the IMBBA, and they're kind of working towards the future of our industry, you know, which is a huge, so you're kind of getting to have a pretty broad spectrum. So how were you able to put together these partners?
Well, you know, it's to be honest with you, you know,
don't be honest now.
I won't be honest. But to be honest, you know, I've been in the business a long time, and you know, I come to a lot of the rallies and the trade shows and so forth. And one thing for sure I've always found is staying home, staying in the office, you can conduct some business. If you don't get out, hit the streets, be seen, and shake hands and get to meet people, it's all about networking. So how do I get to know these people? The same way you do. We've met them over the years. They have your business card. They see your emails, and eventually they will come around and you know, ask for your help. Sometimes you approach them and ask them, you know, do you need some help? That's with the IMBBA. I had to actually ask them because it seemed like it was just such a natural. You know, it's like, hey, if you want to be in this business in 20 years, you know what? You better do something to set the foundation now, because look around you. The crowd's getting older. If you don't help the young bloods come up, there won't be anything here in 30 years.
Well, I think you bring up some very valuable points, and you know, with the Progressive International Motorcycle shows, they've recognized that also. You know, they have some new features, and they're trying to involve people, be more interactive. You know, one of the things we talked about with the internet out there, if you're just passing news along, you can go on the internet and get more accurate news and get it a lot faster. So if you're going to have these venues and associations like the Progressive International Motorcycle Show, the IMBBA, Sturgis Museum, you have to entertain. In fact, my partner has kind of coined the phrase edutainment. And you're now creating an experience for people where they can learn things and they can progress. And, you know, it's all about motorcyclists sticking together and what we can do to kind of make the future of motorcyclists work together. So, any exciting new projects? I mean, you talked a little bit about what might be going on at the Buffalo Chip this year, but anything else you got going?
There's a lot of stuff going on, actually. IMBBA is a global operation, and We've got a show coming up, and actually, people might think it's crazy, but we're talking and marketing the World Cup competition in Canada in April of 2012. The reason being, these bikes will be such works of art. It's going to take these guys at least that long to build these things. You know what I mean? And so they need to start now. Now this will be a pretty unique deal where the various countries actually will have the say in who represents their country. Six builders from each country are allowed, and it's all within the membership of IMBBA. So that is a huge thing, and you know, we're mentioning it now. We don't want to be anticlimactic and wear it out before it gets there, but as each month passes, you'll see a lot more information on that. And again, Sturgis Museum will be sponsoring that, Axel Motorcycle Products. There's a lot of people coming on board with it, and we're actually talking to a major promoter about a series of shows in the U.S. too. So,
well, you know, that's all. It's real exciting. You know, we're involved with the Ultimate Builder Series. This weekend we have the United States Championship going on, the AMD World Championship. We do have Robin Bradley coming in from England. He'll be at the awards ceremony on Friday. You know, the World Cup, we have a small industry, and that's what makes it special, that we all work together. I really appreciate you coming by today and sharing some of what you've done and your future plans. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you very much, Bob. Always good to see you.